Hey, Professor Marshall, what's up?
Hi, Professor Leung. I was just sitting here thinking about the journey that brought you here to Amherst College, and just how far you've come.
Well, I'm from Hong Kong, you know that.
Yeah.
Hong Kong was a British colony when I was growing up.
Mhm.
My mother finished elementary school and my father had 2 years of schooling. But I was very fortunate because both of them believe in education and they decided all the children have to finish college.
Okay, so did you finish college in Hong Kong?
Well, no, I didn't. I wanted to. I was very happy in Hong Kong, but because there was not a lot of opportunities for higher education in Hong Kong during that time, my parents decided to send me to England to do the equivalence of, I think it's 11th grade in the US system. In England, of course, it's natural because Hong Kong was a British colony.
And were you the first in your family to go abroad for your education?
No, my parents sent all my siblings away so we could go to college. That's what they believe in.
And you were the youngest, right?
I was the youngest, yes.
So how was the time in England? I know you love England now.
Oh, I love England then. I love England, the place, but I was totally miserable. For two reasons. The first reason is I was actually, in high school, I was very good in writing, and I love Chinese literature. So my dream was to learn more about Chinese literature and become a writer. And going away from Hong Kong totally crushed that dream.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. And the second reason I was so miserable because most of the girls in my boarding school, they really didn't want to interact with a foreigner who did not know the language or did not know the culture. And seriously, I can't blame them. Teenagers often just turn inward and think only of themselves, and I really was disrupting their routines. And so in a way, I can't blame them for treating me unkindly. But if I were to stay in England, I would have 2 more years of high school to finish before I could go to college, and I really could not face that. So I asked my father to let me come to the US to go to college. And I ended up at California State University at Northridge.
Any particular reason?
Not really. For my family, college is college, and that was the only college that accepted me because I was a foreigner and I did not really have a lot of credentials.
And so what happened when you got to Cal State Northridge?
Well, because of my poor English, I really could not think of studying anything other than science and math.
And so you chose chemistry because you always loved it, right?
Well, did I ever tell you I hated chemistry in high school? I disliked chemistry so much because chemistry, at least in the colonial system where I came from, it was just learning by rote, and I didn't see the point of it. And so I thought, biology sounds like a good major because it seems so relevant and it's to do with living things. But little did I know that to complete the biology major, I needed chemistry. And so in my sophomore year, to my horror, I did not have enough chemistry classes. Well, I didn't have any chemistry classes to take more biology classes. And I started taking freshman chemistry in my sophomore year. And I actually liked those classes because it seems I had to make connections and I had to think. It's so different from what I learned in high school. And then, by the time I was a junior, I still did not have enough chemistry classes to do biology. So I said, why not? I just took a bunch of chemistry classes and I actually fell in love with them. And I declared a chemistry major the second semester of my junior year.
Wow, and then did you have a path forward? Did you know what was going to come next?
I had absolutely no idea. I think my family thought I was crazy trying to study chemistry because I didn't know what I could do. But I was very fortunate. I had some professors that opened my eyes and told me about graduate schools. I still didn't know what graduate school was about. But I thought at least that's a path, even though I didn't know where it would lead to. And when I compiled a list of schools for my chemistry professors so they could write me recommendation letters, one of my professor, Dr. Leroy Nyquist, he told me he wasn't going to write me a recommendation letter if I did not apply to any Ivy League schools. So I said, okay, whatever you say, I don't see the point, but I'm going to do this just to please you because you've been so kind to me. But little did I know.
What happened?
Little did I know he opened up my world. I followed Dr. Nyquist's advice and I got accepted at Harvard. And I did my PhD there with Professor William Klemperer. And after that, I did my postdoc with Professor Patrick Thaddeus at the Harvard Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics.
So yeah, just apply to Ivy schools on a whim and you end up Harvard.
Well, I was very lucky. I had great mentors guiding me. And I had also a lot of luck, seriously.
And what did you, and what was the postdoc in astrophysics?
Yeah, and it's applied physical chemistry, applied spectroscopy. And during the postdoc years, it's really amazing. I mean, graduate school years were great, but postdoc years were amazing because I had the freedom to do a lot of exploration. And in fact, I looked at the properties and distribution of interstellar clouds in the Cygnus X region.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah. And so was that kind of the most important thing? Was just doing the science?
Science, of course. Science was incredibly important, exciting, but I won't say is the most important thing. I think I learned some incredibly life-changing lessons from my mentors in graduate school and my postdoctoral fellowship. And Professor Klemperer and Professor Thaddeus showed me that how important it is to foster a community that is highly cooperative and congenial. And that by supporting and lifting up each other, we can bring out the best of everyone.
That's great. But you also did come up with a research interest in these years.
Yeah. I fell in love with studying intermolecular interactions, how two molecules interact together. Mm-hmm. And intermolecular interactions are very important for chemical and biological systems, and even geckos rely on them. Otherwise, geckos will not have sticky feet.
And they don't even take chemistry courses.
They don't even take chemistry courses. Nature is absolutely amazing. Mm-hmm. And so I was thinking, how could I study intermolecular interactions? What kind of equipment would I need? And I was looking at different kinds of spectrometers, and there's a new type of spectrometer called Fourier transform microwave spectrometer.
New at the time.
New at the time when I was a postdoc. Mm-hmm. The spectrometer really caught my attention. But a lot of people told me I would be absolutely crazy if I would try to build such an expensive and sensitive instrument at an undergraduate institution. But you know me.
A little bit.
I was stubborn. I'm still stubborn.
Was? Yeah, I was going to say, was.
And I insisted on finding my way to do it. And so, as an assistant professor, I constructed the 6th Fourier transform microwave spectrometer in the world.
Wait a minute, you said you constructed it. I mean, don't you just buy these things?
No, they were custom built, custom designed, and I got a lot of good advice good help from colleagues, from experienced colleagues, when I was thinking about how to construct this piece of equipment. It was just amazing, the help I got from them. But it was a difficult journey because I did not have enough internal funding to construct such a spectrometer. So I utilized a lot of used equipment to do the first version of the spectrometer and have to rely, well, actually I was very lucky. I got external funding to finally make the spectrometer as sensitive as I like it. And since then, I was able to build a second Fourier transform microwave spectrometer.
Now, you said you're interested in intermolecular forces and intermolecular interactions. So how does microwave spectroscopy help you learn about intermolecular forces?
Wow. So what I do is I form molecular complexes, two molecules that are held together only by this weak intermolecular interactions. I form these molecules in the microwave spectrometer. And then by looking at how they tumble in space, you can get them tumbling in space by applying microwave radiation to it. I can figure out their structure. How something tumbles in space depends on the structure. So if I figure out the structure of the complex, I can back up and find out the forces between the molecules.
Do you have like one in particular you'd like to talk about?
One kind of complexes?
Or one kind of project or something?
Oh my goodness, just one kind? Okay, the many kinds,
Okay.
but one kind actually inspired by a professor in England, Professor Anthony Leung.
Mm-hmm.
He was thinking about hydrogen bonding.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he wanted to study how acids hydrogen bond. But I was saying, what about the other side? What about the hydrogen bond acceptor? So I turned this idea around and looked at how different hydrogen bond acceptor interact in intermolecular interactions. And in fact, one of the big projects is to study how alkenes substituted with halogen atoms interact with different acids.
And you said you have many projects. Is there another one you want to mention?
But that's another project that's fairly new and it's really cool. The project is to try to understand how to find absolute configurations of molecules that mirror images of each other. Okay, like our hands, they're not mirror images of each other. Microwave spectroscopy can help to do that. We do some fancy complexing with this kind of molecules, which we call enantiomers, and figure out the absolute configurations of these molecules. But the reason why this is important is because a lot of pharmaceutical drugs have active components that has another mirror image, and only one of the images is efficacious.
And of course, we've been working together on these projects.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and
For a long time.
for a long time. I mean,
But we haven't,
when did we start?
in graduate school, but we worked together only for 1 year.
Okay.
And then I went on to do my postdoc, and I was faculty members at other colleges. So for 12 years, we had our own projects. We did not collaborate at all. And I was very excited when the opportunity at Amherst opened up and for me to move here. And since then, we have been collaborating. We have done many projects. We do new spectrometers. We just figure many things out.
But I mean, what is it? I mean, you know, I grew up 100 miles from here. You grew up over 10,000 miles from here in a very different culture. What's it like, you know, working with me?
You really want to know the truth?
You're going to tell it to me anyway.
Probably. I think growing up in Hong Kong was pretty amazing. We were, you know, we're Chinese, Cantonese, in we're majority Cantonese, but the government is a minority. And we interact with many people, and most people from Hong Kong at that time, they were refugees. So we saw many different type of people, and we were treated as foreigners even at our own home in Hong Kong. So in a way, it was an interesting learning experience. But as I left home, as I interact with all different kind of people, I really feel people are people. We all have certain working style, we all have certain goals, we all have certain mindsets. Doesn't matter what culture you come from. And we could be miles apart, we could be very close. It really depends on the people. And I am certainly pretty amazed that we have been so like-minded. I honestly could not believe it. And even though we have different cultures, I am surprised with such similar values. We do have very different working habits and working styles.
Really?
But I think we have been able to respect each other from day one. And together, I think we are much more than working separately. What is it? The sum is greater than
The whole is greater
the
than the
whole
sum
is-
of the parts.
the whole is greater than some of the parts.
Yeah, well, I remember that first little project I suggested you do in graduate school, and when I was looking over your shoulder, and you
I
told
was
me,
a fresh
yeah, you
graduate
were
student,
brand new, I was
and
experienced,
I never knew anything about tools.
and, and I was looking over your shoulder, and you told me basically to go away and stop bothering you. And then when I came back, I looked at it and I realized you had actually done it better than I would have done it. And at that point, I said, aha, I know who's going to do my projects for me from now on. So.
Because I had a good teacher.
So now, so you've come this, you're at Amherst, and what do you like about being at Amherst? I know the downside is you see me all the time.
Teaching and research at Amherst has been amazing, especially when we get to teach together or when we supervise students together. Has been absolutely unbelievable for me to have such a journey. I have a career so far from where I come from, both physically and situationally. And I get to interact with students in the classroom and research labs. I get to show them how to think, different way of inquiry, and I can show them the excitement of delivery. And that's just
Excitement of
discovery. And that's just absolutely amazing. And I'm just hoping I'm able to give back what my professors did to me. That is, I'm hoping I can reach students where they are, help them see their abilities, and to figure out where they would like to do or to go next.
So I guess as we finish up, what advice would you give to Amherst students, to students in general, to women students, to Asian women students studying whatever they're studying science?
Oh, I'm no sage, but I have a few things to offer. I don't even know whether I dare to say it's advice. What I'm going to say is going to sound like the movie, The Sound of Music. There were many doors that were closed on me during my journey, but when I had the courage to look after I get really miserable and so on, I've always found serendipity and wonderful people who have been supporting me along the way. And so I would say, follow your heart, be true to yourself while accepting of others. There are unfortunately always negativities and obstacles along the way, but deal with them with grace and determination, and seek out advise along the way. There are so many amazing people out there who will help in lifting us up. And of course, we have to remember we have to do the same for others. We have to lift up others. But I think no matter what, most importantly, you have to love what you do.
And it's clear that you do. And it's what an amazing journey. I'm so glad you took it. I'm so glad that we're together here at Amherst College. So glad that you're here at Amherst College.
Thank you. I
Thank
feel
you.
the same.
Thank you.